I ought to have anticipated it. The late-night discussions with board members, the unexpected increase in Amanda's interest in the company's finances, and the hushed chats that ended the moment I entered a room were all warning indicators. However, I choose to disregard them, since Amanda was the one, my younger sister, the same girl who, with large blue eyes and scraped knees, used to follow me about and beg me to let her remain up late. She refused to turn on me, however she did. The board made a decision. You're gone. Amanda leaned back in her chair at the head of the conference table and spoke in a smooth, almost rehearsed voice. She had triumphant glints in her blue eyes, which resembled mine. She grinned as if she had just won a chess match and folded her immaculately groomed hands. I am now the CEO. Despite the oppressive tension in the room, I remained sitting. Calmly, my hands were on the leather portfolio before me. I could sense the board members' eyes, which I had personally chosen, flitting in my direction. Most of them avoided looking at me. My gaze was only held by our main legal counsel, Marcus Chen. At the corners of his mouth, there was a sliver of a smile. Amanda grinned broadly. She was awaiting my response. Startle, fury, perhaps begging. Rather, I grinned, slowly. Look at page 394, I requested. Amanda paused her smile. What? I answered calmly, opening my portfolio, the contract, page 394. She knitted her brow. How does page 394 look? I waited until the silence was long enough to unnerve her. I then turned to face the board. Does anyone want to educate my sister? Marcus cleared his throat. He responded with ease. The succession clause. A minimum of 5 years of senior management experience in a technology company is a prerequisite for any new CEO. I looked into Amanda's eyes. You have been our director of marketing for how long? Amanda's face went white. 2 years. With her confidence faltering, Amanda remarked, That's just a technicality. Marcus gave a small smile. To change that clause, a 100% shareholder vote would be needed. I sharpened my tone and declared, As the majority shareholder, I'm not voting for that change. Amanda's face lost its hue. Her eyes darted to the board, seeking stability. Nobody made a move. That's unfair, Amanda growled. No, I muttered. It's business. Amanda's lips clenched. This is not the end of it. I stood, imitating her steps. No, I muttered. It's only the beginning. With her heels tapping furiously on the marble floor, Amanda bounded out. The other members of the board shuffled uneasily in their chairs. Before I spoke, I gave them time to process their uneasiness. I flattened my hands on the cool table and murmured, Now, let's talk about the reason behind calling a special board meeting without informing the CEO. The hour that followed was a painful exercise. Excuses poured out, including worries about my lack of aggressive growth strategies, my preference for R&D over quick profits, and my decision to keep the business private. I paid attention. Then, with surgical precision, I demolished each and every defense. 3 board members had resigned by the conclusion. I nodded politely in acceptance of their goodbyes. Marcus had previously arranged for substitutes. When it was over, I didn't even feel relieved. Simply put, fatigue. I stood in my office later that night and looked out over the skyline of Seattle. Cold and far away, the city lights reflected off the glass. With its sleek white furniture and clean lines, my office was the epitome of minimalism. But tonight, it felt empty. Amanda had attempted to steal what I had created. My sister. I touched the glass with my forehead. I noticed a glimmer of movement in the reflection. With 2 mugs of coffee, Marcus entered. I assumed you might require this. I accepted it with gratitude. You've known for how long? 3 weeks, stated Marcus. Amanda requested that I go over the succession plans. She was unaware that I had contributed to their writing. She didn't, of course, I whispered. Amanda never followed through on her research. It buzzed on my phone. Amanda texted, Don't get too comfy just because you won this round. Taking over a business can be done in a variety of ways. I showed Marcus. He arched an eyebrow. Do you want me to begin recording everything? Please, I said. Additionally, schedule meetings with our key shareholders. They must comprehend the specifics of today's events. Marcus gave a nod and walked away. I opened up the company's founding documents while sipping my coffee. 394 pages. My policy for insurance. After witnessing a friend lose her startup to an unqualified but politically astute investor, I wrote it. It never occurred to me that I would have to use it against my own sister. Amanda texted again. Dad and Mom will be very sad. In my chest twisted a familiar agony. My parents had never been able to comprehend my commitment to Morrison Tech. The youngster who could do no wrong, Amanda, had been the golden child. My parents had been overjoyed when she started working for the company 2 years earlier. They believed it would strengthen our bond. Amanda had attempted to plan a corporate takeover instead. Amanda's email pinging my computer. Tomorrow, she had scheduled an all-hands meeting. Important company updates and strategic vision discussion is the subject line. I grinned. By portraying herself as the victim of bureaucracy, she was attempting to mobilize the troops. I grabbed my phone. Maria, I said. Yes, Miss Morrison? Cancel Amanda's appointment. Declare in a company-wide email that the CEO must approve all internal messages and take away Amanda's administrator privileges. Maria paused. Do I need to worry? I answered. Not for your job. However, things will become messy. Internal audits and shareholder calls dominated the remainder of the evening. I reviewed the marketing initiatives, employee grievances, and Amanda's department budget. The pattern was obvious: bad leadership, missing deadlines, and careless expenditures. I peeked up once and saw that it was almost midnight. I heard heels clicking through the subterranean garage as I made my way to my car. I pivoted. Amanda stood with her arms folded, resting against a concrete pillar. In the faint light, her eyes gleamed. She said, "You're making a mistake. Did you tell the board that?" I answered calmly. "You gave me no option," Amanda remarked. I chuckled quietly. "Amanda, everyone has a choice." She squinted. "This is not the end of it. I understand," I muttered. Her heels clicked on the concrete as she pushed off the pillar and moved on. I stood with my heart pounding. I used to trust my sister with my life, but she had just declared war, and I would have to battle her. There was commotion when I got up the following morning. My phone was constantly vibrating. Text messages, emails, missed phone calls. Marcus had previously emailed a damage summary. There was no light in Amanda's department. The marketing team had half of its members called in sick. There was a word going around that I had been kicked out of the company. Amanda would burn everything down on her way out if she couldn't win. After putting my hair in a tight ponytail and rolling out of bed, I entered the kitchen. I checked the most recent series of emails while the coffee maker hissed. Subject: Morrison Tech's uncertain leadership. James Cooper, the CEO of TechVantage, our main rival and, presumably, Amanda's new best friend, sent the email. I've heard alarming rumors regarding the leadership situation at Morrison Tech. Tell me, please. With a groan, I put down my coffee. Amanda wasn't merely causing difficulties. She was also making us appear weak. Cooper was also swimming about like a shark. Marcus arrived at my office around 7:30 a.m. On my desk, he left a file. "This is something you should definitely see." I took it open. Performance evaluations, employee grievances, and expense reports. "You were correct," Marcus remarked. For months, Amanda's department has been a complete mess, underperforming and beyond budget. HR has received numerous complaints regarding her management approach, and I'm only now learning about this? I inquired. Marcus's jaw clenched. She blocked a large number of reports, stated that she was taking care of it inside. I gave my temples a rub. She certainly did. Marcus handed me another sheet and said, "There's more. A memo from within. Last week, Amanda had asked to see our AI platform's development files. I gave it a quick glance. She is not authorized to do that," Marcus stated. Permissions were overridden by someone. I gazed at him. Who do we know? Marcus paused. Not just yet. However, a security snapshot in black and white was slid over the desk by him. Amanda is seated at a table in a cafe in the downtown area. James Cooper sat opposite her. 3 days ago was the timestamp. I said, "She's giving him false information." Marcus gave a somber nod. "That's how it appears." My chest constricted. To what extent is he aware? Marcus's face grew serious. "Enough to move if we don't get this resolved quickly." Amanda arrived to the workplace at midday. Her hair was smooth, her heels were pointed, and her grin was calm as she walked in as if nothing had happened. As she passed through the foyer, she didn't even give me a glance. Miss Morrison, Maria uttered uneasily. You are not authorized to be here. Amanda grinned. I work as a director. I have complete access. No longer, I declared as I left my office. Amanda's eyes grew piercing. You took away my access? You attempted a coup, I stated bluntly. What were you anticipating? Amanda's smile remained constant. You're going overboard. Oh? My arms were crossed. Hiding behind my back to meet with our strongest rival? Are you requesting unapproved access to private project files? What am I meant to do? Amanda's face became stern. You're not aware of the stakes. Teach me, I answered calmly. Amanda took a step forward. Catherine, Morrison Tech is stalling. You don't want to take chances. Cooper is providing a collaboration with worldwide reach and technology development. His intention is to make us public. What does Cooper receive in exchange? Amanda's grin widened. Our AI platform is available to you. I gave a sharp, icy laugh. What would you get in return for selling the company's most valuable asset? A place at the table? Amanda's gaze flickered. It's a wise decision. We would be invincible. No, I replied. Cooper would not be able to be stopped. We would simply be a new acquisition, Amanda yelled. You're thinking too small. No, I murmured quietly. You are considering yourself. Amanda's expression contorted. Oh, Catherine! Why must you be in charge of everything at all times? Because it's my business. Amanda's mouth clenched. It might be larger, not like this, I cut in. Amanda's grin dimmed. Her gaze grew gloomy. You're doing something wrong. No, I muttered. You've already succeeded. Amanda's mouth parted, then shut again. At her sides, her hands clenched into fists. Go, I said. Amanda squinted her eyes. This is not the end of it. I understand, I replied. She pivoted and strode in the direction of the elevators. I inhaled deeply as the doors shut behind her. Marcus showed up beside me. That went smoothly, I whispered. It's not over. No, Marcus concurred. She has too much invested in it to leave. She will exert more effort. Marcus's eyes became gloomy. And when does she? I gave a small smile. We resist. My folks were waiting for me when I got home that evening. Mom had her hands clasped in her lap while she sat rigidly on the couch. Dad crossed his arms and stood near the hearth. I let out a sigh. Did Amanda give you a call? Mom stated firmly. She said you're trying to push her out. I remarked. She attempted to stage a hostile takeover. She's attempting to assist, Mom countered. I gave a sour laugh. By giving a rival access to our confidential technical data? Dad squinted his eyes. She didn't say that. It's not, of course, I yelled. With caution, Mom said, Catherine, perhaps it's time to take a step back. I gazed at her. Take a step back? Mom's eyes grew softer. Amanda has new concepts. Perhaps it's time to let her take the lead. You're not kidding. Mom paused. It's reasonable to think about hiring new leadership. New leadership, I said again. Painfully, my chest clenched. I started this business from scratch. So, you think I should back off when Amanda walks in with no experience and half-baked ideas? Dad's face became stern. Your sister is her. And that makes this okay? I fired back. Mom's jaw clenched. You've always been so work-focused, Catherine. Amanda might be correct. Perhaps Morrison Tech is more. I moved in her direction. Don't, I said in a quivering voice. Don't pretend that Amanda is a visionary. She is careless. You have no idea what's involved. Dad added softly, Catherine, family comes first. I gazed at him. When you're not the one being betrayed, it's easy to say that. There was silence between us. I muttered, I think you should go. Mom's expression collapsed. Catherine, I responded icily. I mean it. Go. Dad's mouth tightened. He got up and grasped Mom's hand. Just before they left, they stopped as they approached the door. Dad declared, We're not picking sides. You've already done so, I muttered. Without saying another thing, they departed. My chest was burning as I stood in the deserted house. A text buzzed across my phone. Amanda, don't assume this is the end of it. I sat down on the floor and threw the phone on the table. I lowered my head into my hands. I had dedicated my life to safeguarding this business. I would now have to keep it safe from my own relatives. I didn't get any sleep that evening. The gentle hum of the metropolis outside my window did nothing to calm my thoughts as I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. I always saw Amanda's face when I closed my eyes, that icy, cunning smile she gave me when she told me about Cooper. The way my parents had gazed at me, like if I were the issue. I didn't have time to notice that my fatigue was a dull ache under my skin by morning. I was forced to do this because Amanda had started it. At 7 a.m., I got to the workplace sharp. Maria's strained face was already at her desk. She slid a tablet in my direction and added, "You're going to want to see this." I grabbed it. A tech insider headline. Morrison Tech is unstable CEO. Catherine Morrison gets backlash following boardroom power struggle. Below it was a photo of Amanda and Cooper at a charity function, both of them grinning as if they had already made the sale. Marcus came up beside me and said, "She's working the press, presenting them with a tale about your resistance to change. How, under your direction, Morrison Tech's growth has stalled." I tightened my jaw. "And it's being purchased?" Marcus let out a sigh. "Enough of them." The iPad was thrown upon the desk by me. "Make an appointment with our leading investors today." "I'm on it already," Marcus stated. "And Amanda?" Marcus's jaw clenched. "This afternoon, she has a private meeting with Cooper scheduled." "Where?" "Carlton Hotel," Marcus answered. "We have security video." "We certainly do." Marcus paused. "Catherine, what's the play here?" I gave a chilly smile. We allowed her to dig a deeper hole. I was standing at the head of the conference room with the glass walls at noon. As the company's senior investors took their seats, I could see the metropolitan skyline stretching out behind me. Despite the underlying tension, I said, "Thank you for coming," in a firm voice. "You've all probably seen the headlines." There were whispers. "Some didn't look at me." I stated, "I'm here to correct the record. Morrison Technology is not erratic. Our growth is consistent, and we plan to launch our AI platform early the next quarter." "So why are there rumors?" Among the investors, one inquired. "Because Amanda Morrison has been giving James Cooper false information," I stated bluntly. "Under the pretense of a strategic partnership, she has been trying to leverage a hostile takeover." A tense stillness descended upon the room. An elderly investor cleared his throat. "Catherine, your business is amazing. However, Amanda is correct in one regard. Growth has slowed. Perhaps, maybe Amanda's plan sounds good if you want to expand recklessly," I interrupted. "However, let's be clear about Cooper's desires. He has no interest in fostering our development. He wants to dismantle Morrison Tech and sell the components." And more investors scowled. "You have evidence of this too?" A folder was slid across the table by me. Amanda obtained these copies of internal conversations without permission. Minutes of meetings with Cooper. Modified financial forecasts? Marcus bent over. "And the SEC has already received them." The investor's expression became white. "Jesus." With my palms pressed on the table, I took a step toward them. I stated icily, "Morrison Tech isn't unstable. Amanda is." A long pause ensued. A top investor then gave a nod. "Catherine, you have our support." They echoed him one by one. "You've secured the board," Marcus said, leaning near me as the last of them departed the room. "For now," I said. Marcus paused. "And Amanda?" I squinted. "She will soon find out." At 4:00 p.m., I reached the Hotel Carlton, sharp. In his customary fitted suit, Marcus was already waiting in the foyer with a manila folder in his hand. 617, he said. With my heart racing, I made my way to the lifts. Marcus hit the button. "Are you certain about this?" "She forced her to play," I muttered. "It's my turn now." The elevator swung open. I entered with Marcus at my side. It was quiet on the way up. I went down the hall to room 617 and knocked once when the doors slid open. The door opened. When Amanda spotted me, her face tensed up. James Cooper sat at a little table behind her, his jacket slung over the back of the chair. Amanda said stiffly, "Catherine, why are you in this place?" I said I could ask you the same thing and entered. Cooper gave a flimsy smile. "Miss Morrison." "This meeting is private." "No longer," I answered. Amanda's gaze flickered. "You're going too far." I gave a small smile. "Oh, Amanda, you would already have lost your job if I were going too far." Cooper's grin dimmed. Is something wrong? I took the folder from Marcus. I slid it toward Cooper across the table after opening it. All right, I said. Look at it. Cooper paused. He opened the folder after that. His face grew serious. These financial reports are confidential. Marcus clarified. Financial reports were altered. Amanda gave the impression that Morrison Tech was having financial difficulties, so you could quickly propose an acquisition. Amanda's face went white. That cannot be proven. Another sheet was placed on the table by Marcus. We can, in fact. We monitored the login information. Cooper's lips clenched. You claim to have authorization, Amanda. She didn't, I snapped. And the evidence is already being reviewed by the SEC. Amanda's mouth clenched. Cooper's eyes became gloomy. He brushed down his jacket and stood up, saying, Well, this changes things. Amanda began James. But Cooper raised a hand. I avoid doing business with individuals who are incapable of delivering. Well played, Catherine, he said, turning to face me. It's a pleasure, I responded coldly. Cooper made his way to the door. He stopped and walked away. Over his shoulder, he remarked, You might want to reconsider your hiring practices. The door closed with a click. Amanda's eyes were blazing with rage. You made me feel ashamed. No, I muttered. You embarrassed yourself. Amanda balled her hands into fists. You've detested me forever, I whispered. I loved you. I had faith in you. Amanda's expression contorted. So why didn't you allow me to assist you? I answered. Because you weren't helping. You attempted to steal. Amanda twisted her lip. You and Dad are exactly alike. You believe me to be weak. I moved in closer. I responded icily. No, you seem dangerous to me. Amanda's gaze flickered. This is not the end of it. I gave a small smile. Yes, it is. She paused. Then she turned and moved in the direction of the door. I called after her, Amanda. Her hand was on the doorknob as she hesitated. I remarked gently, You won't simply lose your job if you try this again. You will lose everything. Amanda's mouth clenched. Then, without saying another word, she left. The door shut behind her. Marcus breathed deeply. That was really intense, I remarked. She's not done. Marcus's eyebrow went up. What if she makes another attempt? I gave a small smile. Then we complete it. I was aware that Amanda would not give up easily. No, Amanda was too intelligent to barge back into Morrison Tech the following day. Rather, she labored in the background, as she always did. Rumors were circulating like wildfire by midday. There were rumors that I had ruined Amanda's career, that I had staged things to give the impression that she was incompetent, that I had persuaded the board to support me. Typical Amanda would paint me as the bad guy if she didn't win. Maria showed up at my home in the middle of the afternoon, her face white. She added, You must see this, as she slipped her tablet onto my desk. I clicked on the link to the video. Amanda Morrison speaks out. The real story behind the leadership crisis at Morrison Tech. As Amanda's face filled the screen, I gritted my teeth. Amanda's eyes were slightly red, as if she had been sobbing, and she spoke softly. I never wanted things to turn out this way. I cherish my sister. She has always captivated me. However, Catherine has been extremely paranoid lately. She is dismissing the team's concerns and blocking off fresh ideas. I am getting punished for merely attempting to assist. With bile rising in my throat, I paused the video. Astonishing, I whispered. She's gaining favor, Maria remarked softly. Some workers believe you went too far. Others, well, they are doubting your ability to lead. I let out a slow breath. Give them permission. Maria scowled. Are you certain? Yes, I firmly said. Amanda is currently acting like the victim, but this will not continue. What if it does? I looked at Maria. After that, we remind everyone of Amanda's identity. Marcus and I reviewed Amanda's history at Morrison Tech that night, including all of her rash decisions, unsuccessful campaigns, and stunts. Marcus tapped his screen and remarked, This is it. Amanda attempted to start that terrible influencer partnership 3 years ago. Lost close to $1 million, I added, referring to another report. And here, she disregarded the legal team's caution on compliance concerns. We were required to pay a compensation. We had reams of proof by the end, including lost money, broken procedures, and bad leadership choices. Marcus stated, "I'll write a report for the board." "Not just yet," I replied. Marcus scowled. "Why not?" "Because Amanda continues to act naive," I remarked. "She will twist it to make it appear as though I'm attacking her out of spite if we expose her now." Marcus's forehead wrinkled. "So, what is the strategy?" I said. "We wait. She will make a mistake." I tapped the folder as she did. "We'll be prepared." 2 days later, Amanda made a mistake. With a printed email in hand, Marcus stormed into my office. He said, "She's meeting with Cooper again. Tonight." "Where?" "Lounge by the river," Marcus answered. 8 p.m. I reached for my coat. "Leave now." With its sleek black furnishings and cozy lighting, the Riverside Lounge was designed to make customers forget they were being monitored. Amanda was drinking a glass of wine in the back corner when I noticed her. As they conversed, Cooper leaned in from his seat across from her. We chose a table that was both discreet and close enough to hear. Amanda was saying, "I just need a little more time. Catherine is still preoccupied. I can obtain what you require." Cooper clarified, "What you promised. By the end of the month, I must have access to Morrison Tech's AI prototype." Amanda paused her smile. "I'm tackling it," Cooper cautioned. "You'd better. Or this transaction is off." Anger settled coldly in my chest. Amanda was aggressively attempting to sell our most important technology behind my back in addition to sabotaging me. Marcus leaned in. "She's with us." I got up. "Let's get this done." I scheduled an emergency board meeting for the next morning. Amanda arrived late and looked arrogant. She didn't know what was going to happen. "I'm glad you could come," I said icily. Amanda crossed her arms and sank into a seat. "I'm going to assume that you're here to tell more lies." "No," I replied. "I'm here to be honest." I looked across at Marcus, who gave each board member a hefty folder. "You'll find records of Amanda's attempts to undermine Morrison Tech inside," I replied. Evidence of her contacts with James Cooper, her willful attempts to deceive investors, and her illegal access to private documents. Amanda's face went white. "This is absurd," she spit out. "All you're doing is trying to hide your identity?" "Really?" I raised one eyebrow. "Because I've already provided the SEC with this evidence." Amanda leaped to her feet, causing her chair to scrape back. "You can't, I can," I said icily. And I did. As they flipped over the paperwork, the board members whispered to one another. "Enough," I uttered firmly. "Amanda has endangered this business and its workers. I'm suggesting that she be fired from Morrison Tech permanently and removed as a director right away." There was silence in the room. Marcus then got to his feet. "I agree with that." The board members raised their hands one by one. Anger twisted Amanda's face. "You believe this is finished?" she growled. I gave her a glare. "That's for you." She slammed the door behind her as she ran out. I sat by myself in my office that evening, gazing at the city lights. I ought to have felt triumphant. Rather, I felt emptiness. It buzzed on my phone. Amanda texted, "I hope you had a good day. This is not yet complete." My fingers clenched around the phone as I put it down. No one knew Amanda as well as I did. She had not yet finished. I was aware that Amanda would fight to the end. She was overly arrogant, too obstinate, too much like me. However, I didn't think she would target me specifically. Marcus stormed into my office 3 days after the board meeting, his face tense. He left a tiny folder of manila on my desk. "This is not going to be to your liking," he remarked. I opened the folder. A printed copy of a news story scheduled to air in an hour was inside. Morrison Tech internal disagreement, CEO Catherine Morrison charged with poor management. According to an unnamed company source cited in the story, I had obstructed strategic growth prospects, falsified financial records, and fostered a toxic work environment. It read, Amanda Morrison declined to comment at the bottom. I gave a sour laugh. She certainly did. Marcus's mouth clenched. Both of us are aware of the identity of the unnamed source. I responded icily. "Let them print it out." Marcus scowled. "Are you certain?" "Yes," I said. "Amanda isn't considering the long term. This is a desperate situation." Marcus paused. "And when does the media call?" I gave a small smile. "We make sure they know exactly who is in charge." I released a statement to the entire organization that afternoon. Morrison Tech is still going strong. Our leadership group is still committed to innovation and long-term success. Any efforts to divert attention from that goal will be dealt with appropriately. Brief, straightforward, unrepentant. Amanda's campaign of defamation would end. Truth always prevailed. Amanda wasn't done yet, though. Marcus came into my office the following day with his laptop open. "You must watch this." He set it down before me. It was an inside email screenshot. Cooper had received it from Amanda. Subject: access to AI prototypes. I've set up temporary access to the prototype database, James. By next week, we ought to be able to proceed. Simply continue to exert pressure on Catherine. She'll lose it. My blood froze. When was this sent? I inquired. 2 hours ago, stated Marcus. I got up slowly. Is it possible to track the access? Marcus gave a nod. I already have. Amanda used a director-level clearance code to check in. She was still able to access the back end. I reached for my phone. How fast is it possible to terminate access? Done already, Marcus stated. I gave a small smile. Well done. And Amanda? Marcus inquired. I tightened my jaw. She's finished. That night, Amanda was in the subterranean garage waiting for me. As she emerged from the darkness, I heard her shoes click sharply. She claimed that you had denied her access. Yes, I said. Amanda squinted her eyes. This is not necessary for you to do. Oh, I responded icily. I believe I do. Amanda's smile became piercing. So what? Are you planning to let me go? No, I replied. You intend to step down. Amanda laughed. Why would I act in such way? Because I'll file charges if you don't, I responded softly. Amanda's grin dimmed. Everything is ours, I added. The logs of illegal access, Cooper's emails, the manipulation of finances. You went beyond being careless to breaking the law. You wouldn't, snarled Amanda. I said, I already did. Tomorrow morning, Marcus will meet with the company's legal staff. By noon, the SEC will be informed. Amanda's expression contorted. You're playing a bluff. I took my phone out and displayed the email. Do you truly wish to put that notion to the test? Amanda's face grew serious. I responded, You betrayed this company. You deceived me. And you thought you could leave without any repercussions? Amanda's jaw dropped. Closed. At her sides, her hands clenched into fists. I muttered, You could have had a place here. You could have worked with me to build something. Amanda's gaze flickered. She yelled, I didn't want to stand next to you. I desired victory. That's the issue, I muttered. You had no desire to work for the corporation. All you wanted to do was take it from me. Amanda's mouth clenched. You always believed that you were superior to me. No, I replied. I mistook you for my sister. There was a moment of indecision on her face. Then, it solidified. What comes next? Amanda inquired. You'll step down in silence, I said. For the sake of Mom and Dad, we will not disclose the specifics to the media. However, you will leave with nothing. Amanda gasped for air. What if I don't? The SEC will ensure that you lose more than just your job after that. Amanda's lips quivered. She inhaled nervously. Are you serious about this? Yes, I said. Amanda's chin raised a bit. All right. Turning, she headed for the elevator. She looked at me one last time before the doors closed. You prevail, she declared. I said, I didn't want to. The doors closed smoothly. Amanda presented her resignation the following morning. No news conference. Not much fanfare. A brief internal memo. Amanda Morrison has resigned from her job at Morrison Tech with immediate effect. There was no explanation. Later that afternoon, Marcus placed the memo on my desk. All right, he said. That's it. Not exactly, I said. Ensure that Amanda's access to the building is revoked by security. Indefinitely. Marcus's lips quirked. Done already. And Cooper? Marcus gave a small smile. Following notification to the SEC, TechVantage canceled all purchase negotiations. Cooper is trying to limit the damage. I took a deep breath and sat back in my chair. It was done. However, it didn't feel like a win. I took a car to my parents' residence a week later. The door was opened by Mom. Her eyes were guarded, her face taut. Enter, she said. Dad had a drink in his hand as he sat in his chair by the fireplace. When I sat down, he didn't look at me. I think you heard, I muttered. Dad's mouth clenched. Amanda claims that you made her leave. Yes, I said. Mom's eyes were sparkling. You couldn't have discovered an alternative? No, I replied plainly. She was selling the business out. Mom's lip quivered. You two should look out for one another. We are no longer children, I muttered. At last, Dad gave me a look. He had a chilly look. Your sister is her? I understand. And now? He inquired. I gave a small smile. She's on her own now. Dad's jaw clenched. Without saying another word, he got up and walked out of the room. Mom put her hand on mine, Catherine. I got up. You don't need to choose a side. Mom's gaze grew softer. We did that already. I gave her a cheek kiss. Look after her, I muttered. Mom gave a nod. I stepped outside into the chilly nighttime air. Amanda's nameplate was taken out of the office 2 weeks later. Marcus entered carrying a pile of reports. Preliminary earnings estimates were received. The AI platform is going above and beyond. I gave a small smile. Well done. Marcus paused. And Amanda? I said. She'll land on her feet. She always does. Do you believe she'll return? Marcus inquired. No, I replied. However, if she does, I grinned. I'll be prepared. Marcus laughed. You are the CEO for that reason. I got up and moved toward the window where I could see the skyline of Seattle. My business was secure, more powerful than previously. However, my family, that was an injury that might never fully recover. Perhaps that was the cost of having power.